Being in the nature of parks, gardens, the wood, anywhere is wonderful. But it's also therapy. When I'm working inside and the birds, that's a different kind of therapy. I met Louis St. Cyr the end of the 90s and was very impressed with his carving, and we worked on a few pieces together before we started this project for the museum on the endangered species. Coming from Alberta, I grew up there and just had a love of birds ever since I was a little girl. So that bird thing for me has been going for a long time. When I moved from Alberta, I originally moved to Ontario and then to Quebec. Loved Montreal, loved Quebec, loved the culture here. Was working at home because I had small children, and that was great, but I knew I needed to do something more. But I ended up going to a bird fair, and I met a man, Arthur Dorion, a wonderful gentleman who is a very good carver in Quebec. And I asked him if he would let me paint some of his birds. And I met other carvers through Arthur, and word of mouth, Louis found me through other carvers. And since then, I've been working with Louis, and we've just been very, very close in our relationship to the pieces that we're working on. The great horned owl that I'm working on right now, when I receive any wooden sculptures, I have to make sure they're sealed. Then I give them a coat of gesso, because the carvers and Louis have already put their texturing is all done in burning, very fine burning and texture, and I have to be very careful not to put too much paint. It has to be thin layers, and also so they're transparent as well. Then it's the details of the patterns, whatever pattern there is, or the edges of the feathers to highlight things. It's back and forth between brush and airbrush, but always ending with the brush and details. And then basically check constantly with either the study bird or photos, and sometimes in some cases both. Because photos don't always show the under part of the bird or the upper, certain things under the wings, but the whole process is really quite a challenge usually. Now that we've done all these pieces for the museum, I find that it's really an incredibly important work. Hopefully this exhibition will educate, and people will also see the beauty of these beautiful birds and the sadness if we were to ever lose them as a species. So I hope you enjoy the show and the exhibition in Magog.